Hi, my name is Sarah and I work at the American Independence Museum. And today we're going to do a little video on 18th century hearth cooking. Because we're all quarantined at home, we are actually here at my home, not at the museum, so we'll be using some of the 21st century kitchen implements and a few of the 18th century items that I brought home with me from the museum. That being said, this is also a time for us to gather around as family, and since everyone's home, try out some new things. So this is a great opportunity if you'd like to try this at home. You can do it if you have a fireplace at home. You can do it on the fireplace. You could also do it outside if you were able to have a little fire outside, or you can do it in the oven, and I'll give directions on how to do both. This is Garrett, my son and my helper, and we're going to be doing some cooking together today. So today we're going to be making a recipe from 1796. It's from the first published cookbook here in the colonies, written by Amelia Simmons, and it's called American Cookery. You can Google it, and Google Books has it fully online, so you can scroll through it and check out all the recipes. But what we're going to be making today is a soft gingerbread, and oddly enough, it has no ginger in it. Some of the ingredients we talk about might be a little bit different, and I'll explain those in just a minute. But right now, we're just going to get things started. You want to help me over here, Garrett? So it basically consists of flour, sugar, eggs, butter, and then two spices that are a little unusual that I'll explain as we go along. Can you dump that in there? So we have our flour and we're dumping in our sugar. Then it calls for something called mace, and we have some mace here in the mortar and pestle. Can you grind this up a little bit more? So mace is actually part of the nutmeg. So when you get a nutmeg from the tree, there's the outer hard part of the shell, and you crack that open. Inside is the nut that we use, nutmeg, and around that is this kind of papery, it's relatively hard and thick, but this papery kind of coating, which is what mace is. And this was a very popular spice in the colonial era. Nutmegs were native to New England, so it was something that was readily available versus cinnamon that was a little bit harder to get. Another ingredient that would be used was something called rose water, and that's what this recipe calls for. Because I'm in my kitchen during quarantine right now, I don't have any rose water, so I'm actually going to use some vanilla. So if you were making this at home, you could use vanilla. It would probably be more palatable to your taste buds anyway. And same thing if you do not have mace, you could use nutmeg as well. But rose water is used more than vanilla. As kind of a flavoring to give things a little bit something extra. Vanilla was quite expensive as it was coming from much farther afield. So it's something that you don't see an awful lot of in 18th century recipes, though it is there sometimes, but you see rose water and things along those lines listed a lot more. All right, very good. You want to dump that in here? The measurements that are listed in 18th century cooking are pretty vague. Have a dash and a pinch, a spoon or a cup. The cup, however, is not the standard cup that we use today in our measuring cups. Measuring cups didn't exist at that time. A lot of things were just a cup of whatever a size cup you had. Most of the measurements that were done in the 18th century were actually weights. So you see ounces a lot in the recipes. So if you do have a cooking scale in your kitchen, you can use that as well, and later on in the video I'll be posting the recipe, both the original recipe and also a weight version and a modern kind of equivalent of teaspoons and cups and things like that. So here we're going to add our rose water, but in this instance it's actually vanilla. Now we're going to add our eggs. And then this is the fun part, you can get messy. We're going to add some butter. Before we do that, we're going to butter our pan. If you have a Dutch oven at home, you could use that on your fireplace if you do have a fireplace. And you could just use a regular old pie plate. So now we're just going to get nice and messy. You want to do this? don't worry, I washed my hands before the video. So you're just going to mush it all up, and then you can put it into your pie plate and kind of mush it in your greased pie plate, and spread it out. And then we're going to be ready for cooking. So here you can see the fireplace. You can see that we have a fire burning. It's been burning for quite a while. And we have our Dutch oven and the lid resting by the fire, heating up the pan itself. So the way hearth cooking works is you do all of your cooking right out here on the hearth. So we're going to pick up our pot, bring it out here, place our gingerbread inside. I'm going to put our lid on top. And now it's time to bring out our coals. So you just bring them out a little bit. Now you notice that this Dutch oven here has legs, and that's because it's going to sit right on top of those hot coals. And then you can see the cover has a lip around it. We're just going to add some more coals on top. Now, if we did this right, this mini little oven here should be about 350 degrees like our modern oven, and it should take about 20 minutes to cook. So if you were to do this at home, you would put your gingerbread in the oven for about 20 minutes at 350 degrees. And we'll come back in a little bit and take it apart after it's cooked and see the final product. So it's been about 20 minutes, and we're just going to scoop the ashes off the top. Lift the cover off. And here we have our gingerless gingerbread.